What up, everybody? What up, everybody? What up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of AC Reviews the World. I am your host, AC the Engineer. Let's give it a round of applause, y'all. Yes, we back with another episode, and we are at I believe we are at episode 38. Yes, we are at episode 38. I hope everybody's had a good week. You know what it is. It is Friday. You see, I'm in my hoodie today, but because I'm off work till Wednesday. Oh, yes, I said it. I'm off work till Wednesday, or at least my main job Wednesday. So, hey, that's why I'm in the cozy. And it's pushed back till 8 o'clock, because why not? I don't need to get started at 8. So, hey, we got a lot of things to talk about. So, let's get started. What are we going to talk about today? So we got a wide variety of topics. We got to start out. We got to start out with the crime stuff. So we got to get over into there's more crimes every single day. So there's a lot of things we got to talk about. We got the killer in the Ding Dong Ditch case of the 11-year-old. So he was arrested. We got some more stuff about stuff happening at the Miami airport with a baby being almost taken. Something crazy. You got just a wide variety of other things. So we got more Chicago stuff. So I guess we always going to talk about Chicago because there's always stuff happening in Chicago. So we got that. And then we got later into the show, we got to get into the more not crime related, but more just news related. So we got some vaccine information from Florida talking about that. I don't know if y'all seen that stuff. So we're going to get into that. New dating trends that some people are talking about. I don't think it's new, but. And then we got Greece, and then just some other stuff that we're gonna talk about. We're gonna go over the other side of the world, but hey, we got stuff to talk about like always. So you know what I like to do? I like to get right into it. The first thing we're gonna get into today, we got to get into the Ding Dong Ditch killer. So he was charged. We're gonna, how I always like to do. We're gonna have a refresher video, then we're gonna go into the next newer video. So let's jump right into that. So let's get into just to refresh everybody's memory and on everything. So let's jump right into it.
You know Ding Dong Ditch. I think all of us have played it at least once in our lives when we were kids, but it's a game that can quickly turn deadly. We just found out a Houston family is now grieving after their son was shot while running from house to house, ringing doorbells with his friends over the weekend. It's the latest instance of a scary trend across the country of this once innocent prank turning into a life-threatening gamble. News Nation's Xavier Walton is in Texas with the details. I mean, Xavier, it takes you back to your own childhood. I think all of us, again, have played this game. How did something like this happen?
Marky, good morning. I think that's exactly what, detectives are trying to figure out. How did a simple game, a prank, if you will, turn deadly? Now, this is obviously still an active and ongoing investigation as, investigators try and piece together what exactly happened and potentially what charges could be filed. Police say the 11-year-old and some friends were ringing doorbells in a Houston neighborhood, then running away. But police say at one of the homes, someone ran out and shot a child in the back as they were running away. That boy later taken to an area hospital where he died. Officers questioned one person at the scene and eventually, let them go, released him. During a search of the home involved, police found several firearms, including rifles. Marky, at this point, no charges have been filed. However, investigators say circumstances here at this point don't necessarily point to self-defense.
Yeah, you just never think that a simple prank like this, kids having innocent fun, is going to escalate into violence and death. But these kinds of shootings are, this is not the only one that has happened, right? Is this becoming a trend, a deadly trend across the country?
Yeah, same old, prank, if you will, but with a new twist. And it's all predicated off of this Ding Dong Ditch prank that, everybody used to do back in the day. But yes, gaining steam on social media, becoming more popular. On TikTok, the door kick challenge, essentially what the Ding Dong Ditch challenge used to be, but instead of ringing a doorbell, kids record themselves trying to kick in the door, post the videos on TikTok, In July, a 58-year-old homeowner was charged with aggravated assault when he allegedly fired multiple rounds at a vehicle fleeing his home. This was in Frisco, Texas, after police say someone banged on the front door. Then back in May, a Virginia man was charged with second-degree murder after he allegedly shot and killed a teenager who had filmed a TikTok video playing the doorbell game at 3 a.m. And then in 2023, this one was really bad. A California man was sentenced to life in prison for ramming his car into a group of 6 teens who rang his doorbell and ran, killing 3 of them. Police departments, nationwide have been telling parents to warn their kids about these pranks because some of them may be innocent enough, but turning deadly, like this case now out of Texas, Marky.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our new...
Absolutely crazy, y'all. Absolutely crazy. Now, like we said, this was not... So, first thing, I have done Ding Dong Ditch before. Never at night. I don't understand why he was 11-year-old, because he was 11-year-old doing the Ding Dong Ditch challenge at 11 p.m. My mom wouldn't have let me out that late. So when the street lights come on, I'm in the house. So I wouldn't have been out there that late. But I've definitely done the Ding Dong Ditch prank before when I was younger. The door kick challenge is something crazy. I've never even thought about that, where they're kicking the door so hard that some of them are flying open. If that happened to my house, I would have my gun. I mean, I'm honest about it. Somebody's kicking. I'm thinking someone's kicking in my door, so I would have had my gun. So, but this all looks like, so what the main thing, as you can tell, is what they said is that the 11-year-old rang the doorbell and then ran away, and then the homeowner, or I believe the homeowner, came outside, chased him, and shot him in the back. So, like I said before, I don't think there's no reason you can't say self-defense. I don't know the reason why he ran out and chased him down and shot him in the back, but you can't say self-defense. So let's get over into this next video where he was actually charged and see what all that's talking about.
Welcome back in Alive Now. I'm Austin Westfall. A live look at Houston on this Tuesday evening, 9:15 in H-Town. Our next story takes us there. That's where an 11-year-old boy was fatally shot over the weekend after a so-called ding-dong ditch prank. Police now saying that a suspect has been charged with murder, and we're also learning the identity of that suspect and the victim. With more on that story, we bring in Fox 26 Houston's Abigail Dye, who has some exclusive details tonight. Abigail, what more can you tell us?
Well, Austin, the 11-year-old victim in this, his name is Julian Guzman, and investigators say that he and his 11-year-old cousin, they were playing Ding Dong Ditch. They were going around the neighborhood, ringing doorbells, knocking on doors, and then running away. One house they hit several times, and investigators say when they came back that final time, Gonzalo Leon Jr. was waiting next to his home outside in the dark, gun in hand. Investigators say that he opened fire and he hit the victim in the back as that boy was running away.
Yeah, so I'm not going to pause it too much, but first thing. I never went and hit a house multiple times, especially late at night. Like I said, I wasn't doing that late at night whenever I ding dong ditch when I was real young. But parents, please teach your kids better. Nowadays, pranks aren't what they used to be. So I say just stop doing the pranks. I mean, yes, some of them are innocent, but you never know what it can end up in costing your life. Some people aren't playing around these days. And for the man who did this, you're going to jail. There's nothing else to say about it. You shot a little boy in the back because he kept ringing your doorbell. So let's keep going into this.
The boy died the next day at the hospital, and now the Harris County District Attorney has charged the suspect in the case, saying that they intend to upgrade this charge to a capital murder charge because of the victim's age.
This was someone brutally murdering an 11-year-old simply because they were mad. We have a little boy who didn't even have a chance to get his life going yet, and just struck down for nothing.
It was Saturday night when the victim, identified as 11-year-old Julian Guzman, and his 11-year-old cousin went to play Ding Dong Ditch in their East Houston neighborhood. The last house they knocked on sits on the corner of Fidelity and Membro.
Tragically, they picked a house to do it potentially 3 different times in the span of about 15 or 20 minutes. And the third time, the homeowner was laying in wait for him to come back. And when they did, as they were running away, he stepped out, fired once into the ground, as the evidence is showing so far, and then drew down on these two little boys and shot one of them in the back, killing him.
It seems
absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. Yeah, would I be mad? Yes, I would be mad. I would. I'd be fed up. I'd call the police for sure. I'd call the police if they kept doing it. But would I go out and shoot them? Wait for them and shoot them and mow them down? Nah, never even in my wildest dreams.
Seems like the suspect shot the 11-year-old in the back and then just went back in his house.
That's exactly what it appears to be. He just shot him down in a street and then just went back about his business.
Meanwhile, records say that Guzman and his cousin ran for about a block before Guzman collapsed, and his cousin tried to drag him to safety. Guzman died the next day at the hospital. Leon was detained and questioned twice over the weekend before he was finally arrested. There were multiple firearms found in the house. Do we have any idea the legality of those?
That's part of the investigation as we're doing it right now. We recovered more than 20 firearms from inside that home. We had a number of rifles that were seized, a number of long guns, and at least 3 handguns is my understanding. And what you can never do is discharge your firearm out of anger, ever. When things like that happen, tragedies like this occur.
And I understand this guy was a father himself.
That's what we found, is that he had a young child in the home at that point and still decided to draw down and murder an 11-year-old.
And Austin, there has been speculation online that these kids could have possibly been doing some kind of a social media challenge and doing more egregious things to neighboring doors than just knocking and running away. We have reported on social media challenges of the such before, but Sean Tier, the district attorney, he says that wasn't the case here. He says this was just your typical ding-dong ditch that's been around since the 80s. And there has been no bond set in the case at this point, but there is a bond hearing for Leon tomorrow, and the state says they expect to request a $1 million bond in this case. Austin?
Abigail, have you or any of your colleagues had the chance to speak with anybody in that neighborhood? Any neighbors by chance, or the family themselves?
We have spoken with neighbors. A lot have been very apprehensive of going on camera and sharing their thoughts, but there is a general sentiment of this being tragic and senseless. And as for the family, they have requested privacy at this point. We've reached out on different occasions in different ways, and they did post a GoFundMe just speaking about Guzman a little bit, saying that he was your typical 11-year-old boy. He was smiling, happy, and he had his whole life ahead of him that was taken away in an instant.
Fox 26 Houston's
absolutely crazy. So let's get over into, we got to look at the bond. So we got to get and look at the bond. So let's get over into that and see. So as you can see, let me see, zoom. You already know we got to zoom in so everybody can see it. Let's see it. Get that out the way. A $1 million bond was set for the man accused of shooting the child over a ding-dong ditch prank. 11-year-old. So he was in court Wednesday for murdering the 11-year-old on Saturday night at Fidelity in Rankin. If I'm saying that wrong, forgive me. Court documents show that Guzman, his cousin, and some other friends were at a relative attending a birthday party, got bored, and decided to go play a game of Ding Dong Ditch. First thing first, I don't care how bored you are. At 11-year-old, my mama would have never let me outside. I don't know how old the cousins were, but at 11, no, you're not going outside. I don't even care if you're with your cousin. Now let's see. They rang several homes. Witnesses say that Guzman had run to Leon's home, ringing the doorbell several times, and began to run away. He opened fire. He was charged on Monday and arrested early Tuesday. Absolutely crazy. Yeah, the judge ultimately gave the state what they wanted, which was a $1 million bond. So we know he got to pay 10% of that if he wants to get out and be out before his court appearance. Should he have gotten bond? A bond, I don't know if he can make that bond, but he fired his gun out of anger just because. Yes. Would I be angry? Yes. Would I fire my gun? No. If someone kept ringing my doorbell, yes, I'll be angry, and I'm gonna call the police. I'm not gonna go out and start shooting people. I would be fine if they didn't give him a bail, honestly. But absolutely crazy, y'all. Absolutely crazy. Like I always said, tell me your thoughts on that. Tell me what you're thinking. Do you think that he should have gotten a bond? Like I said, I would have been fine if he wouldn't have got one. But how much time do you think he's gonna get? They're gonna charge him with murder, so they're gonna give him 25 to life. Sounds like to me. All because you got angry because the little kid was ringing your doorbell a lot. And they said it was just a regular ding dong ditch prank. It wasn't the door kick challenge, because the door kick challenge to me is absolutely crazy. Because I could reasonably see myself if somebody was doing the door kick challenge where they kicked my door so hard it fling open, me pulling out a gun. Now, would I shoot before seeing the suspect? No, I wouldn't shoot before seeing the suspect or seeing if they're running away. But I definitely would have had my gun drawn. I mean, what reasonable person wouldn't? Now, if you think I'm wrong, tell me. But it's a crazy world out here. We need to teach our kids that pranking it's not like it used to. And don't be pranking people late at night. Out at 11 o'clock, don't go back multiple times. What are you doing? But essentially, just might be time to just end the pranks. Stay in the house, play some games. Don't go out and start pranking your neighbors, because you never know what can happen. But that was one 11-year-old who was sadly lost his life. So like always, we got to pray for the family and just pray for the cousin. And just hopefully they can deal with their grief. But we got to get over into another 11-year-old who was grazed by a bullet while they were sleeping. I believe it was a girl. So let's get over into this video and see what this is about.
Somebody fired shots into an Oak Cliff neighborhood, injuring an 11-year-old girl who was sleeping in her home. Good evening, I'm Steve Eager.
I'm Heather Hayes. So police are looking for the shooter. Meantime, the victim's family does not believe they were the target. Fox 4's Alex Boyer live with the latest details. Alex.
Hey guys, a terrifying situation. You know, I had a chance to talk to the little girl's mother off camera as they returned home from the hospital. She said that they were all asleep inside the home when all of a sudden bullets came flying through the walls. Her 11-year-old daughter was grazed on the arm. Thankfully, she's going to be okay. As you mentioned, though, the mother says she has no idea who would do this. This is what the front of a family's home looks like in the East Oak Cliff neighborhood of Dallas after it was shot up early Wednesday morning.
A bunch of gunshots woke me up. I was asleep, and it sounded like they were in my backyard.
Willie Barnes lives on Dahlia Drive, where the shooting happened just after 4 a.m.
Overall, it's pretty quiet over here. This block, we hardly ever have anything happening in this block.
This neighbor, who asked that we not use her name or show her face, lives across the street from the victim's home.
I'd fallen asleep watching Yellowstone. I was awakened between 3:45 and 4 o'clock, and it was multiple gunshots, just rapid gunshots. Went straight to the floor.
Wow.
Just straight to the floor. Yeah. So that was it. Didn't get to see who it was, what they were doing. Just knew that, it was, I knew from the sounds that somebody was being shot, that started being shot in.
According to Dallas police, someone was shooting in the area when one of the bullets went into a bedroom and struck an 11-year-old girl who was asleep inside. She lives there with her mother and siblings.
Those are the little girls I talk to on a regular basis, so yeah, I was concerned about them.
The girl's arm was grazed by the bullet. She was checked out by doctors, but is expected to fully recover. Investigators have not said if they know who the intended target was. The senseless shooting has shaken the neighborhood.
This end of the street was blocked off. That end of the street was blocked. There was crime scene. Then finally crime scene came. It was multiple police cars.
Folks want the person responsible to be found and held accountable.
They need to catch him and get him off the streets. Because, bullets don't have names on them. You know, they can hit anybody, anytime.
And I asked several of the neighbors I spoke with on and off camera if they had any surveillance video of the incident or the aftermath that could help the family or detectives. They said they did not. In the meantime, investigators have not released any sort of suspect description. If you have any information, of course, you are asked to contact Dallas Police. Back to you.
All right, Alex Boyer. Thanks, Alex.
Absolutely crazy, y'all. I say it all the time. It's a crazy world we live in. It's a truly crazy world we live in. Just sleeping. Let's go back.
Investigators have not said.
Little girl just sleeping in her room. Next thing you know, they don't think they're the target or anything, but all these shots, multiple shots hit the house. Luckily, no one was seriously hurt. The little girl had a graze on her arm. But it is a crazy world out here. You never know what can happen where you are. They said it's the safest. They said it's a safe area, but we always know that everybody says it's a safe area. Well, not everybody, but they always say that. It might be right. They might have been in a safe area, but anything spontaneous can happen to where it puts somebody's life in danger. I'm happy the girl was safe. It's probably very traumatic, so hopefully she's going to need to be able to talk to somebody. And she's going to need to get through it. But we're just going to have to, I don't know, what can we do about this? The police are going to have to work harder, yes, work harder to find a suspect. Well, I don't know if they have to work harder, but they're going to have to work hard. Work hard, find a suspect, get him off the street, because he doesn't deserve to be out here with regular people. Can we do anything about this as what parents should do? I don't know. Maybe I don't know how the situation was. Maybe we got to start having conversations with our kids, telling them, if you ever hear this kind of sound, be sure to duck down, get under the bed, find some cover. That might be the only thing we can do, because we don't know when it's going to happen. It's not like you can afford to have a bulletproof house. The majority of people can't. I don't know. That might be the only thing we can do. But that was just a video that popped up on my feed, and we had to bring it up. What are your thoughts? Is there anything that parents can do? Is it just simply that we got to teach our kids to know what to do in certain situations? Yes, of course we need to. I think so. But you never know when situations like this will happen. You never know. Like I always say, just leave me your thoughts in the comments. If you disagree with anything I said, please let me know. Yeah. Remember to hit that like and subscribe button, hit that notification bell. So you can keep up with all the latest news that's happening all around. We got to review the world together. But let's pivot. Let's pivot over into I don't know if y'all seen it, but the UK cheerleader. The UK cheerleader who put her baby in a closet. I don't know exactly what all happened. I haven't deep dove into this yet, but it's been going around and people are talking about it. So let's get over into it and see what all this is about. But like I've said before, it's simple that some people don't deserve to be mothers or shouldn't be mothers. It's just being a mother is not made for everyone. And you got to use protection, and you got to think about if you're made to be one, especially as a mother. Father, yes, men need to, but the women are the people who carry the baby, so they need to be sure that they are ready for that responsibility. And if they aren't, take the steps to not be one, or to, just use protection. But let's get right into it and see what this is talking about.
So a cheerleader at the University of Kentucky arrested after police say a dead baby was found in her closet.
Oh,
Garrett Tenney has the details on what we're learning about this. Garrett, hello.
Yeah, Bill, good morning to you. Police say this cheerleader, Laken Snelling, gave birth to a baby and then tried to remove any evidence of it. Now, when investigators showed up at her house right off campus in Lexington, they found the body of a newborn baby wrapped in a towel and stuffed into a black trash bag. The trash bag also had all of the cleaning supplies the 21-year-old used to try to cover the birth up. She allegedly admitted to everything and is now facing multiple charges. The arrest citation states, by wrapping the infant in towels and placing it inside of a black trash bag, the listed suspect treated the corpse in a way that would outrage ordinary family sensibilities. Snelling just started her senior year at the University of Kentucky and is a member of the school's competitive cheer team. The county coroner has not released the baby's official cause of death, and it's not clear from court records or police documents why she tried to cover it up. Just a few months ago in June, the cheerleader posted a picture on TikTok that included an emoji of a mother holding a baby under her list of goals, along with a wedding ring, a house, and money. The case is still under investigation, but Snelling has pled not guilty. She is out on bond under house arrest at her parents' home in Tennessee until her next court hearing a few weeks from now.
Okay,
Bill?
all right, Garrett.
Absolutely crazy. They said she posted a picture. She got a wedding ring, a emoji holding a baby. So that was obviously her goals. Her goals was to be a mother. If we ask in my opinion, it was she either she wasn't ready to be one. I don't know about, the main thing is how the baby died. Was it stillborn, or did she do something to it? We got to wait to see. I don't know if we got another video to get into. I don't know if that covers it, but oh my God. Tragic. It's absolutely tragic. This baby had to, oh my God. There's nothing to say. There's nothing to say. Some people are, if we're being honest, horrible human people, horrible human beings. And she was one. We got to be honest about it. My question is, who was the father? That is another question. Who was the father? Did the father know he was pregnant? Absolutely crazy. But let's get over into this next video that gives a little bit more detail into it and see what's happening. But it's crazy.
Welcome back to Opening Statements. This morning, we're shining our spotlight on the University of Kentucky cheerleader, Laken Snelling, who's accused in a case involving her deceased baby. So the 21-year-old is out of jail after her arrest over the weekend. Authorities say that her deceased infant was found inside of a closet at Snelling's home. They say the infant was found wrapped in a towel and placed inside of a black trash bag. She is facing charges of abuse of a corpse, tampering with evidence, and concealing the birth of an infant. This is what we believe to be Laken Snelling's latest TikTok post. Among her goals, a family emoji and a mom nursing a baby emoji. Okay. Now, Snelling was in court on Tuesday, where she pleaded not guilty, posted a $100,000 bond, and is now on home confinement. Her next court date is September 26. Now, I want to be very clear. She's not facing murder charges. Okay? It seems that investigators are going to try to determine the baby's cause of death and then proceed accordingly. So it's unclear how the baby died at this point. So that is the reason that you're not hearing murder as one of the charges, and we don't even know if it's applicable. So I want to be very clear about that. Let's bring in our expert guest and talk a bit about this death investigation, what it may yield and how long it may take. I want to welcome in board-certified forensic pathologist Dr. Priya Banerjee and forensic death investigator and professor at Jacksonville State University, Joseph Scott Morgan. Good morning to you both. Professor Joe, starting with you, please. Police say the Fayette County Coroner's Office are the ones who are investigating this infant's cause of death. How long would you expect this to take?
I would imagine that the pathologist that's leading this case for the coroner is not going to take an incredibly long time in order to come back with a cause of death. And that's very important here because, as you mentioned off the top, there are no homicide charges at this point, okay? What's going to be very important is the testing that they're going to do in the lab. I'd keep a very close eye on any information that's coming out of the coroner because that is going to be the tail of the tape.
Yes. Let's talk about that. Dr. Priya Banerjee, tell us a little bit about what you expect the forensic pathologist to be looking for at autopsy.
So these are incredibly complex cases. I've handled not quite a few, but a few in my career, and I'm glad they're limited to that. What's going on is that you have to prove, which is incredibly difficult, whether the baby was born alive or not, to then, if it was alive, to then bring murder charges. So that's a big if. It is very difficult just from, there can be so many variables as to why even a full-born or full-term baby can be born, stillborn, and even an autopsy doesn't always find the cause. And so if it's nebulous like that, they may not be able to prove the murder charges. I also don't know the condition of the body of the baby, and plastic is not breathable. And so that can promote decomposition very quickly, sort of, help the tissue disintegrate more.
Absolutely crazy. I don't think we need to go too far into this, but let's watch it.
Get what's called macerated, and so that can also limit how accurate any autopsy findings are. And I just want to highlight that there have been a lot of convictions overturned and sort of disparities, if you will, with the float test. There was a test that's shown to be erroneous where lungs float in water at autopsy, and that's been used to quote unquote prove homicides in the past, but that can be false positive with decomposition. There's a lot of, it's a test fraught with problems, so that's not thought to be reliable anymore. So you really have a lot of investigation and studies to do to even try to prove whether the baby was born alive.
Definitely. Thank you for all that, Dr. Priya. Professor.
Absolutely crazy, y'all. Absolutely crazy. It's a tragic situation, very tragic situation. Now let's get over into, so this article I just found from Fox News. So we got to make sure it's a reliable article that we can, at least some kind of reliable source. So our coroner revealed Wednesday that the cause of death remains inconclusive for the newborn alleged hidden in the closet by the University of Kentucky student athlete. The Fayette County Coroner Office in Lexington, Kentucky said that in a statement that the autopsy of the male infant was complete, but the findings were inconclusive as an extensive microscopic analysis are essential to determine the cause of the manner of death. So officials with the Lexington Police Department took the infant mother Sunday. The tragedy, so we already know all that. Let's see. She admitted to giving birth. She pled guilty in court Tuesday, according to the report. So they're saying it's inconclusive right now. I don't know if this, but the findings were inconclusive as extensive microscopic analyses are essential to determine the cause and manner of the death. So, okay, so it's inconclusive right now, but they're still looking for more information. It takes an extensive microscopic analysis. So we got to wait to see if the charges will increase to murder. And if it does, I mean, she's going to be in jail for, well, does she? Is it jail? She might be in jail for a little while, but she might end up taking a plea to not have any jail time and on probation. If it was stillborn, if the baby was stillborn, but absolutely tragic, y'all. Absolutely tragic. It's still in this. There was no mention of the father. I don't know if she ever mentioned the father in her court. Did the father know? So many questions that I want to ask, but she knew what she was doing was wrong. She got to face the consequences for it. She has to face the consequences for it. But we'll keep up with this to see if they find out any more information from the coroner. So we're going to keep up. But it's a tragic situation, y'all. Tragic situation. Absolutely crazy. But let me know your thoughts on that situation. Let me know, man. It's a crazy world. It's a crazy world. God. But let's pivot over into, we got to go over to the Miami airport. There's a lot of things happening with babies now. A lot of things happening with babies that it's a crazy world. But the next thing we're going to get into is that it says that a baby was assaulted at the Miami airport. I said it, yeah. A baby was assaulted at the Miami airport. Why is my... What is this? What is this? What is this? What is this? What is happening? Let's see what's happening. Hold on, y'all. What is happening? Why is this in the background messing up? Absolutely crazy, but let's get over into this next topic and see what's happening. But it's crazy. Listen. Hold on. Baby. All right, let's get over into this video.
We've got to get to some breaking news. We're following at this hour reports of a child attacked at the airport.
We are getting you details about what happened. Let's go live to Local 10's Lenny Supal, who's at MIA with all the breaking details. Lenny.
Good morning. It was a horrifying situation, and the woman who rescued the child says it was worse than a nightmare, watching a child trying to be pulled from their parents right here at the Miami International Airport. It all happened here at this ticket counter for Global X. Right around 4:30 this morning, a family was here. They were checking in to their flight to Capaccia, and that's when the situation took a very violent and chaotic turn.
We were checking in a flight for Capaccia, and one of the passengers had a child in her hand. She was going to check in, and at the check-in time, another passenger took the baby from the mother's hand and wanted to take the baby from her, slammed the baby in the floor a couple of times, and then she was the one that actually went running towards the lady and removed the baby and took it to the counter. Once she took the baby in the counter, the other lady went inside the counter and we called 911.
And we understand that woman was arrested a short time later. Now officials are working with the Miami airport and the police department to review that surveillance video and figure out what exactly transpired. But at this point, we understand that attack was not provoked by anything. So we still have a lot of questions. We'll be pressing officials for answers in the meantime. Reporting live from the MIA airport, Lenny Supal, Local 10 News.
Absolutely crazy. What is happening? What is happening? Let's get over into this next video.
Investigators say this all happened just after 4 this morning when the mother and her boy were about to board a flight. They say the child was crying and a woman who was a stranger offered to help out.
23-year-old Alvina Agba of Luton, England, is now charged with battery and interference with custody after the strange story from Miami International Airport. An arrest report says she offered to soothe the 4-year-old boy when he was crying, and after his mother allowed her to take him, she walked away with him and refused to give him back, saying, "This is my child." An arrest report says Agba got into a struggle with the mother, and then this witness, Naylet Montano, stepped in.
I ran over to see what was going on. When I got close, I noticed a woman on the floor, strongly gripping the little boy. In that moment, I realized the boy was in danger. I grabbed him and ran. The woman on the ground got up and tried to take the boy back from me. I wouldn't let her.
The arrest report says 3 people got in between Montano and Agba.
I ran behind the counter and crouched down to protect the boy. She tried to get under the counter, but when police got there, she ran away.
Investigators say Agba was arrested nearby. The report says she claimed she was just trying to soothe the child and remembered a wall with a rainbow on it and thought it would help him if she took him to it. Montano, meanwhile, says she did not think twice about taking action.
I'm a mother. When I saw this little boy in danger, I didn't care what was happening. I simply wanted to protect him. I wanted to protect him above all else.
Now, investigators say that Agba told them that she only did it because God told her to do it. Right now, she's being held at the TGK Correctional Center pending a hearing. We are live at Miami International Airport. Peter Dench, CBS News, Miami.
I say it all the time, y'all. I say it all the time. It's a crazy world we live in. It's a truly crazy world we live in. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. Golly. But tell me your thoughts. Tell me, I'm happy someone was able to get the baby, but sounds to me she was trying to kidnap the child. I don't know. Maybe. I mean, who walks away while holding someone's baby and not telling the mother about it? It just doesn't make sense to me. It does not make sense at all. Yeah, sounds like me she was trying to kidnap the kid. And then, did I hear it wrong, or did the lady who kidnapped the kid say that God made her do it, told her to do it? I might be mistaken, but I swear that's what I heard. Absolutely crazy, y'all. Absolutely crazy. Watch your kids. Don't just let random strangers hold your kids, even if they offer, because some people don't have good intentions. You don't know what kind of intentions they have. Absolutely crazy. Now we got to go over to. So it looks like there was an arrest in the video we reviewed. I think it was last week, where the mother and a 12-year-old son was killed. So let's get over into that video and see what all this is talking about. So we got to refresh our memory. So let's watch that video.
Police are trying to piece together what led to the deaths of a mother and son in Hazel Park.
The investigation is being treated as a homicide and is still in the early stages. Fox 2's Robin Murdoch is live and has the latest on all this. Robin.
Good morning, Jay and Erica. We are currently standing outside the Hazel Park Police Department, and they are continuing to investigate this double murder at this hour. They are not sharing a lot of information at this time. We are hoping that will change throughout the day. We do know that this was a mother and her son who were killed in this situation. Just a very tragic set of circumstances, and it really is hitting the community here in Hazel Park very hard this morning. Now, police were called out to the 23,000 block of Burdendo right around 4:15 yesterday evening, and this is in the area of 9 Mile and I-75 here in Hazel Park. That is where police discovered that this 41-year-old woman as well as her 12-year-old son were dead inside of the home. And as you can imagine, there was just a very big police presence out at that scene for several hours yesterday while police were investigating this. Right now, they are not saying how the two were killed or sharing any information about a motive. They are working to develop a suspect at this time, but they do not believe that the community is in danger. Now, according to a message that was sent out to parents in the Hazel Park School District, there will be counselors and other support staff on hand for students who need someone to talk to. Now, that message tells parents to please take a moment to hug your children and remind them how much they are loved. It says that you should encourage your children to be compassionate and supportive, of their classmates, as you never know what someone else is going through. End quote. Again, Hazel Park police, they are investigating a double murder at this hour after both a mother and her son were found dead inside of a home here in Hazel Park. No arrests at this point. Of course, if anything changes with this, if police release any new details, we'll be sure to share it with you both on air as well as online.
Absolutely crazy, y'all. Absolutely crazy. But let's get over into this next video where the suspect has been charged. So let's get over into that.
Well, tonight on The Edge, a man in custody in connection to the brutal murder of a Hazel Park mother and her 12-year-old son.
Fox News' Dave Spencer was there as the suspect was brought in by police and joins us live with more. And Dave, you were the only journalist on the street there. You talked to this guy for a minute.
I did. He didn't have much to say. We'll get to that in a minute, but this all happened at 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon on Labor Day. And early today, right 24 hours after that, is when we started to get wind that an arrest in this case was likely. So we made our way down here to the Hazel Park Police Department, and we noticed right around 8 o'clock is when other officers started gathering outside. We watched an SUV pull in with somebody in the back seat. That somebody had no shirt on. He had no shoes on. He was in handcuffs, and we watched him be taken into police custody. Anything you want to say to the Hill family at all? Anything at all? Anything about the family of a 12-year-old? Just silence from the suspect as he was led from the police car into the station, where he's now being processed in connection to a double homicide that happened Monday night. The victims here, 41-year-old Linda Hill and her 12-year-old son, Cardi. They were found in their home on Bernardino Avenue near 9 Mile and 75. Medical examiner tells Fox 2 that both victims had their throats slashed, which was determined to be the cause of death. The victims are described as being both loving.
Wait, what did he just say? He said their throats were slashed? Insane. Hold on.
9 Mile and 75. Medical examiner tells Fox 2 that both victims had their throats slashed, which was determined to be the cause of death. The victims are described as being both loving, quiet, and sweet. The family says this tragedy has shaken them to their core. They've set up a GoFundMe to help with burial and funeral expenses. They also say 12-year-old Cardi was just a sweet boy who enjoyed video games, anything a 12-year-old would do, and spending time with the family. We spoke with Cardi's grandmother, who is also the mother of Linda Hill.
She never went out to party. Everything was done inside the house, so we just a close-knit family. That's it. Oh, that's the sweetest little boy I ever seen and known and raised. Yep, and I'm gonna miss him dearly. Both of them.
They take this crime very seriously. This was a cowardly, heinous, vile crime, and the Hazel Park Police Department, the City of Hazel Park, we will not rest until justice is served in this case.
And that's indeed what they did at 8 o'clock today. As I mentioned, that's when a suspect was taken into custody. I did reach out to the victim's family here, and just to make sure that they were aware that an arrest was made. They told me they were. And when I asked if there's any known relationship between the suspect and the victims there, they just didn't want to comment at this time. They instead want to focus on the victims, rightfully so, now that an arrest has been made. In fact, they're planning to hold a vigil to honor their memories sometime tomorrow evening here in Hazel Park. Reporting live in Hazel Park, Dave Spencer on The Edge.
Yeah, and
let's keep going.
I know that grandmother spoke earlier to Fox 2, and when asked by Charlie Langton, hey, do you happen to have a suspicion of who this could be? That person chose not to comment, understandably. But the bottom line here is that for somebody else who notices something that they're seeing in a relationship that may be dangerous, to speak up, that's so critically important.
Yeah, anytime you can prevent these tragedies, just by having an inkling and acting on that, you could go a long way. It never hurts to act on those suspicions. Who knows, you might save a life. You don't want to end up on the other end of this.
Yeah, and you certainly don't know what will happen in these situations, and we are thinking of that entire family. Dave Spencer for us live tonight. Thank you.
Absolutely crazy. Now that's they made a good point. They didn't want to comment on whether who was the man, what relationship did he have. They didn't want to make a comment on that. Could it have been I'm just making inferences here, but Sounds like it could have been a boyfriend or something like that. But we don't want to make any inferences until more information comes. We don't want to make any guesses or say that this is true until more information comes out. But what it sounds like to me, let me know your thoughts. But absolutely, they said that he slashed their throats. Absolutely crazy. There's some sick people in this world. A 12-year-old? A 12-year-old. Nah, man, you need to be in jail for the rest of your life. Simple as that. Rest of your life. And then what do I say about the sickest of us? The sickest of human beings? They need to put their ashes in the jail too, because they got to stay in there. Even their souls got to stay in there. That is crazy. Absolutely crazy. Let me know your thoughts on that. Do you have a guess on what the relationship between the mother and the man was? I mean, you know my thoughts, but we'll keep up with this to see if they release any more information about it. But hold on, we can always. Let's see. Let's see if we got any more. Suspect arrested. Any more news that tell us about it? Let's see. Here's a part neighbor saying, going to another suspect was seen here 7 days before the murder through reasons. So as it says here, let me go over into what else. It says here, neighbors reported seeing significant police activity. Let's see. According to another neighbor, the suspect was seen in the area several days before the murders, though the reason for him being in the Pontiac remains unclear. So it doesn't really give any more information, but absolutely crazy. Okay, hold on. The family of the victims said that they know who the suspect is and that he is known to them prior to the murder. I don't know if this is the most recent stuff from Click on Detroit. So it seems like, yeah, they knew him, which makes sense to me. It didn't sound like a random killing to me, but what can make a man do something like this? Absolutely sickening. Absolutely sickening. I say this all the time, but it's a crazy world. It's a crazy world we live in, y'all. It's a crazy world. But we got to keep reviewing the world together. Let me know your thoughts on that. Remember to hit that like, subscribe button, and that notification bell. But it's a cold world in here. A cold world in here. But we gotta pivot over into, so the last of the crime stuff we got to get over into is the Chicago. So it looks like a woman was assaulted downtown in Chicago. So we're going to look at that video, and then we're going to look at a video of residents saying how they feel about the National Guard is coming. So let's get over into that, or some residents feel. So let's get over into that and break down this stuff. It looks like we're going to have a lot of stuff to talk about with Chicago. So we got to get into it. Let's get into it.
Kathleen Miles only works downtown 1 day a week. Today, she's still suffering the consequences of that random attack. But it is what she found out about the person who prosecutors say did it that has led her to speak out.
He hit me with such force.
Sitting at home in Lake Villa today, Kathy Miles admits the last thing she remembers before her attack on August the 19th is walking past Block 37 in the Loop on the way to the Union Station.
I woke up and my coworker was standing above me saying, "You're okay, we're in the hospital, you've been assaulted."
She then passed out again.
The next thing I remember is my daughter Deanna saying, "Hi Mama, I'm here, you're okay."
And while she doesn't remember what happened, a colleague who was walking with her at the time told her this.
She had said this man came in between the two of us, shoved us apart, and then hit me in the face.
That punch left Miles with several broken bones in her face, as well as a concussion. According to police, she was assaulted by 32-year-old William Livingston. A record search produced 13 mugshots of Livingston going back to 2012. A large number of those arrests for aggravated assault and battery of both women and police officers, something Miles found out after the fact.
Like, what is enough? You know, what does someone have to do where he's going to be, they're going to be held accountable?
According to online records, Livingston's history of random acts of violence against women goes back 8 years.
Random
In
acts
2017, he was accused of randomly attacking 2 women months apart. Both cases were dropped.
Oh, you know I don't like to pause it too much. We got to back that up just a tad bit. You saying this man multiple times, that's his MO? He likes to randomly attack women? It said months apart. Both cases were dropped. Why were they dropped? So you mean to tell me this man likes to go around and sucker punch women, and then the cases were dropped? Let's keep going.
Randomly attacking 2 women months apart. Both cases were dropped. In 2022, Livingston was sentenced to 5 years in prison after prosecutors said he punched and attempted to rob 4 women within 20 minutes in the Loop. And yet, just 14 months later, in 2023, while on parole, Livingston was arrested for hitting a woman in the face on North Michigan Avenue. And in 2024, he was sentenced to 100 days in prison after punching a 15-year-old girl, also on North Michigan Avenue.
I'm not going to let someone speak for me. I need to speak for myself. I need to say something. If I say nothing and he does this to another person, I'm going to feel bad.
Livingston's next court date is set for September the 15th at the Skokie Courthouse. Kathy tells us she will be there.
Absolutely crazy. Let's get over into what I said. The residents, how the residents feel about the National Guard. Now, my thoughts are simple as that. If the National Guard there is only coming, if the National Guard, if their sole goal is to come and reduce the crime, they're willing to work with the police, then, hey, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. I truly am. To help stop the crime that's happening in Chicago. I don't know, but tell me your thoughts, y'all. Tell me your thoughts. Let's see what some of the residents have to say about it.
First, Chicago records its most violent holiday weekend of the summer.
9 people were killed, 52 wounded just since Friday evening. And police say a large portion of the holiday shooting victims were attacked during incidents, a drive-by in Humboldt Park, and mass shootings in Bronzeville and Oakland. Now, this weekend's violence comes as President Trump is continuing to threaten to deploy National Guard troops and federal agents into the city.
They were saying, please, please, please let the president send it. These were people from Chicago. Please, we need help.
And Tia visited both Chicago's South and West Sides today to ask residents what they want.
She joins us live from downtown with what she heard from many people. Tia?
Well, Terrence and Sylvia, you know, it's a really easy point for political pundits to get in front of a microphone and say what they think about the National Guard coming to Chicago. We've heard a lot from them. We've heard from politicians. And in fact, we've heard from military veterans. The group that we haven't heard from are the residents, many of them living in some of these violent communities, what they think about the National Guard coming to town. And our first stop was on the west side, right in Garfield Park.
They shouldn't have authority to try to police the world of the city because they don't know the rules and regulations of what officers do.
My thing is we in war with ourselves or is the government in war with the citizens? So.
Look in front of Marshall High School. There's nobody there. There's nobody here.
Now, Garfield Park on Chicago's west side ranks second among communities with the most shootings this year. That's according to crime data. So far, 93 people have been shot in the area and 13 have died. Now, we spoke with 3 residents who all share, you heard it, a common view. The National Guard is not the solution. Some described it as a temporary fix to a much deeper problem. Meanwhile, 14 miles away in Chicago's Woodlawn neighborhood, that's on the south side, we interviewed 2 women from different generations, and despite the age gap, their opinions align. Both questioned the need for troops. One of them said Chicago was not nearly as bad as some other cities and expressed concern that the city might be used as a political pawn.
President or whoever is sending this off to us or deploying these National Guards here, I'm not sure if that's such a good idea. We need to have more policing in these areas where they're doing these crimes. And that's all to it, and it shouldn't just be downtown.
The National Guard will only be a temporary solution to an everlasting problem, because even if you get National Guard here, sure, crime will go down, but I don't think that it will get to the root of the problem. It'll slap a Band-Aid on. There's a lot of reasons why there's a lot of crime that goes on, like throughout Chicago and even surrounding neighborhoods. Some people have a lack of resources. Maybe they were not raised in the right houses. And when bringing National Guard here, all that's going to do is instill fear.
Yes, I agree with her what she says, that it might be like putting a Band-Aid on the issue. I can see that. I can clearly see that. But I don't want to lack of resources and not the right. It doesn't, just because you weren't raised. How do I want to say this? Your people are old enough to know right from wrong. Simple as that. Yes, it might be a lack of resources around where you have to, some people might feel like they need to steal just to live. Maybe they aren't. Maybe they need to get multiple jobs. I don't know, but I don't think you can just put it on a lack of resources, because that we would just, I don't know if we talked about this, but I've seen to where they have, a lot of grocery stores are leaving certain communities because of the crime. But if we look at it, when the community opened up, or the state or the county opened up a citizens grocery store, I'm trying to say this correctly, how they opened up their own grocery store, not a big chain grocery store, it still suffered the same problems, crime. So something has to be done. Will the National Guard fix it? I think it will get the crime down. I think that while they're there, it will get the crime down. Will it come back up when they leave? If nothing changes, yes. I think that's very reasonable, but that the crime will come back up after the National Guard leaves. Now, what can be done? First thing, how did I say this? Chicago is in a budget deficit. I know that. I've heard that all the time. If you can just look it up on Google, that they're spending more money than they bring in, and they want more money from the federal government. But how they've been allocating the money right now, it doesn't seem like it's been working. Now, a lot of people will say it's because they spent majority of their money housing migrants. That could be true. But they got to manage their budget effectively. They got to pay police more. Do I think that the taxpayer all around the world should have to pay for it? I'm not too sure about that. Especially if they, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's, like I said, I don't know. The National Guard will definitely bring crime down, but will it keep it down? No. Things have to change within the city politics. Things have to change with the city itself. They can't be lax on crime. None of that. Any of that. All right, but let's keep going and finish up this video.
Now, keep in mind, we did just interview a very small part of Chicago's population, but when you look at numbers, because numbers don't lie, you can see that Chicago does have issues with violence, but it is not the most violent city in America, especially when you look at FBI crime reports. In fact, cities like St. Louis, Baltimore, and Detroit, they actually top the list when it comes to per capita homicides. Live in downtown Chicago, Tia Ewing, Fox 32, Chicago.
Yep. They always bring up the numbers. The numbers say it's going down. I don't know if some people are saying that they're underreporting crimes, because some people are. Some people, we got to be honest about it, that some people are not reporting just because they feel like there's no point. And then I've heard, you can do your own research on it, but I've heard that people say that they'll be picky about what crimes they report. So they'll be like, oh, well, it happened in this place and not this place. Or he came over from here. He was originally lived there and he came over to Chicago. So we're not going to count that as a Chicago homicide. So there's a lot of things go into that. So I don't know for sure if the crime is going down or not. Yes, the numbers say they're going down, but these few residents they looked at said that they don't feel that the National Guard was needed. And that one girl, she made a good point. Is it just going to be like putting a Band-Aid on the issue until they get to the root cause of it? Yes, like I said, the National Guard troops, if they came, crime would drop down. I am 100% positive that would happen. When they leave, if nothing changes, yeah, it's going to go back up. It's going to go back up. But that is it for the crime section of this. We got to get over into this next part of the live stream. So we got to pivot down into Florida. So let's go over to Florida. I don't know if y'all heard about this, but Florida is talking about removing the mandatory vaccines for like school and everything like that. Do I think that's a good idea? No. Do I think you should be forced to take vaccines? No. But you can't, if you don't take the vaccine, then you shouldn't be with the public and risking something happening. So we'll get into that video, and then we got a couple of things to go over with this topic to just see what I'm thinking and why my thinking is this way. But let's get over into this, and we'll go right over into what Florida's trying to do.
Today, more than 1,000 current and former employees of the Department of Health and Human Services are calling on Secretary Kennedy to resign for actions they say compromise the health of the nation. Quote, should he decline to resign, we call upon the President and U.S. Congress to appoint a new Secretary of Health and Human Services, one whose qualifications and experience ensure that health policy is informed by independent and unbiased peer-reviewed science. We expect those in leadership to act when the health of Americans is at stake. Now, Kennedy is due to testify tomorrow before a key Senate committee with pressure building, including from Republicans who are following staff turmoil at the CDC.
We need to restore that confidence. And so far, I don't see where Secretary Kennedy has done that. All I see over there is, at the moment, is a multiple vehicle pileup. There's just been too much chaos. It's a goat rodeo over there.
NBC's Ann Thompson is here with me in studio. He's always colorful, Senator Kennedy.
Always very quotable.
but he does speak for a lot of other people who are worried about the chaos. And I just wonder, RFK now, he's defending himself. He's written an op-ed about it. What's the back and forth here?
It feels like we're having battling op-eds this week in America's major newspapers. He went in the Wall Street Journal yesterday, wrote an op-ed where he said he wants to get the CDC back to its core mission and to restore trust. In today's Washington Post op-ed section, there is a column by Deborah Howery, I apologize. She used to be the chief medical officer for the CDC. She resigned last week after the director was fired. And she says she has 3 questions she wants RFK Jr. to answer. And they are these. Will America be healthier under this new CDC? Will it be prepared for the next pandemic or major health crisis? And is the gold standard of science or transparency, which he talks a lot about, Are they just slogans? And she questions specific decisions to stop the preventative smoking effort that the CDC has undergone, leaving the World Health Organization. And also, when the new recommendations for the COVID vaccine came out, they didn't put out any data. Where's that data, and why hasn't it been shown to the public?
Well, speaking of vaccines, the Florida Surgeon General today announced they're moving to end all vaccine mandates in the state. What more do we know about that?
Yeah, this just happened. The Surgeon General had a press conference, and some of the language he used to justify his reason for eliminating these vaccine mandates is disturbing. Let's take a listen.
Who am I to tell you what your child should put in your body? I don't have that right. Your body is a gift from God. What you put into your body is because of your relationship with your body and your God. I don't have that right. Government does not have that right.
He likened the vaccine mandates to slavery, and that's what is getting a lot of attention here in that press conference. The vaccine mandates in Florida include vaccines for measles, polio, chickenpox, hepatitis B, and he can apparently eliminate some of those vaccine mandates, and others have to go to through the legislature. It's not clear which.
Ann Thompson, thank you.
What? He said it was like slavery. So they said that they got measles, smallpox, polio. These are the vaccines that I'm assuming that he wants to eliminate. I got vaccines as a kid. I think a majority of people did. I don't think so. The main thing is, yes, you should have the right to choose. I think you have that right now. You have that right to choose if you can want to get your kid vaccinated or not. But the main thing is you can't enroll them in schools if they're not vaccinated. And that reason is for the safety of the other kids. So yes, you have your rights to do it, but you have consequences of them not being with other children because they aren't vaccinated. I'm fine with that. To be honest, I'm fine with that. I think there's so many deadly things out here that vaccines are helpful and have cured many things. And they say that measles can come back. So, but hold on. Well, we'll get into. So let's go over into, because of this, we'll look at what the parents. So some of the parents are saying about what he said. So let's get over into this. Oh, yep. We gotta go over to YouTube itself to watch this one. Let's get over into it. Yep, there it is.
If this push to end vaccine requirements for kids becomes law.
Let's get into it.
If this push to end vaccine requirements for kids becomes law, Florida would become the only state in the nation to not require immunization to protect against certain viruses.
Florida Department of Health, in partnership with the governor, is going to be working to end all vaccine mandates in Florida law.
The push for a major public health policy shift in Florida has caught the attention of parents.
This is a big step in the right direction to the health of America's children.
It's giving more parents control of what we should or shouldn't do for our kids.
It's a wonderful, wonderful thing that I can be like, okay, he doesn't need this.
Right now, Florida requires public school children to be vaccinated for measles, chickenpox, tetanus, whooping cough, and other infections. For parents like Leanne Sylvester, the vaccine mandate played a major role in deciding how she wanted to raise her children.
We contemplated homeschooling just because of that. So it was a big factor in if we wanted our kids to go to public school.
Charlie Salvante's youngest son is homeschooled, partly because of vaccine requirements.
We've had trouble with vaccines before, and so with Cameron we decided no vaccines, and So this is absolutely fantastic news.
It's the latest effort by Governor DeSantis to roll back mandates, despite many in the medical community who say the early protection from vaccines helps prevent outbreak.
Who am I as a government or anyone else, or who am I as a man standing here now to tell you what you should put in your body?
While some parents say they still plan to vaccinate their kids, others feel the less vaccines, the better. Nonetheless, the choice is theirs.
Like I said, it is their choice. But that one man said yes. So the reason he's homeschooling his kids because of one of the reasons is vaccination. So yes, I think it's fine if your kid isn't constantly around children. But if he gets something, he risks to spreading it to other kids because he's not vaccinated. At least that's my thinking. That's how if my thinking is wrong, but let's finish.
My husband will definitely sit down and really research and see which ones we think should work or which one we should get. But we're not going to get all of them.
Florida Democrats have blasted the announcement. They say doing away with vaccines will create a public health risk that will lead to an increase in preventable diseases. In Martin County, Cassandra Garcia, WPTV.
So, like they said, preventable diseases. So, we just had a measles outbreak in Texas 6 months ago. So, let's get over into that video.
Tonight, the country's deadly measles outbreak is getting worse, spreading at an alarming rate in Texas. 59 new cases have been reported there since Tuesday, leaving 14 people hospitalized.
We just don't know how bad it's going to get.
Megan Messick is the co-owner of Tiny Tots U Learning Academy in Lubbock. 6 children who attend the Texas daycare have tested positive for measles.
I've got parents that are upset because we're doing so much and then, isolating their children. And then you've got other parents that are like, do more.
It's something Lubbock County Public Health Director Catherine Wells feared.
I think this demonstrates how infectious measles is. It is our most infectious virus that we know about.
More than 600 cases have been reported across 21 states and the capital so far. Health experts say it's a shocking comeback for a disease declared eliminated in this country 25 years ago because of the vaccine.
Measles is going to find those unvaccinated populations. Getting the vaccine now before you're exposed to measles is really the best way we can prevent you from getting measles.
In Texas, the majority of cases and hospitalizations are occurring in unvaccinated kids. One unvaccinated school-age child has died.
This is not something that I was expecting to be working on this year as a public health department.
Alarming numbers signaling a desperate need to slow the spread. Maya Eaglin, NBC News.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.
Wow. Absolutely crazy. And we have to think, so with this, if the unvaccinated children who catch the disease, it can affect younger children who aren't fully immunized. How do you say that word? Just because they've recently taken the vaccine to get into school doesn't mean it's made them immune to getting the disease now. It takes some time. So you have one unvaccinated kid who catches the disease, and it can spread to even the kids who most recently got the vaccine, because it hasn't fully taken effect in the body. Now, if I'm saying something wrong, tell me, but I just did a quick search on it from the government or just on Google using AI and everything. But tell me your thoughts, y'all. Tell me your thoughts. How do you feel about Texas changing the law? It was never the main thing that they are changing is that they're getting rid of the mandatory vaccinations to be in public school. That's my understanding of it. Or into other spaces where they have to be vaccinated, fully vaccinated. I'm fine with, yes, like I said before, I'm 100% fine with you not vaccinating your children. But if you don't, they have to live a certain way. They can't go to public school. I think that's reasonable to me. But some people don't. Some parents are saying that they should have the right to send their kid to public school, even if they decide not to get all the vaccinations. That they are fine for their opinion. We always like people's opinions, but hey, tell me your thoughts, y'all. Tell me your thoughts. What are you thinking? It was wild. It's very wild. Now we're gonna pivot over into. So let's go over to Greece. So this next thing looks like Greece is having a population crisis. A population crisis. So let's get over into that video and see what this is talking about. You know, I'm trying to get into more stuff all over the world because what is the channel called? AC Reviews the World. So we got to review the world together. So let's get over into Greece and their population crisis and see what all that's talking about.
Empty villages, burdened workforce, and now shuttered schools. It's been years since Greece ended its painful economic crisis, but now the country is facing another emergency, a population decline. Greece's population could shrink by 25% by 2070. People are not having enough babies. So Elon Musk has predicted the death of Greece, and the country has decided to shut schools, hundreds of them, because there are not enough children to fill the classrooms. Well, this may sound strange, but Greece is not the only country that is facing this predicament. Here's a report.
Greece is in crisis, and we are not talking about the economic one. The country is facing a population crisis. Projections suggest that by 2070, Greece's population could shrink by as much as 25%. This is way above the European average of 4%. In 2022, the country recorded less than 77,000 births. It was the lowest in almost a century. In 2023, deaths nearly doubled that number, reaching 140,000.
Wow.
Given the urgency of the issue, the Greek government established its first ever ministry dedicated to tackling the demographic challenge in 2023. But things haven't changed. Greek women now have their first child at an average age of over 32. And fertility rate, meaning the number of children per woman, has fallen to 1.35. This is among the lowest in Europe. And from empty maternity wards to classrooms, the reality is staring at everyone. According to data from the Ministry of Education, the number of students in primary education has fallen by more than 100,000 in the past 7 years. It is a 19% drop. So now, Greece is shutting down more than 5% of its schools. Given the steep decline in childbirth, there are not enough pupils. So more than 750 schools will suspend operations for the new academic year. It is so shocking that Elon Musk has unsurprisingly predicted the quote-unquote death of Greece. While that is an exaggeration, this country is not an isolated case. Japan is going through something similar. It is shutting schools, especially in rural areas. And this year, South Korea will shut almost 50 schools, all thanks to the worsening birth rate crisis. From Asia to Europe, North to South America, country after country is battling a population emergency. According to the UN, the world fertility rates are in unprecedented decline. Fewer children born means fewer workers, meaning labor shortages and slower economic growth. A population decline creates an aging society, which also puts more pressure on social welfare. But why is this happening? According to the UN, financial burden is the biggest reason why people aren't having kids. Specifically, 39% people don't have enough money to raise children. 22% people cannot afford the ideal housing to raise kids, and 18% cannot afford reliable childcare. These are big issues.
Reasonable concerns. Very reasonable concerns.
Government after government has tried to solve them, mostly by throwing money at the problem. For instance, by giving baby bonuses, but it rarely works. For instance, China has been giving cash handouts to new parents for years now, but their population has shrunk for a third consecutive year. After all, fixing the fertility crisis takes more than this. People need more jobs, better wages, better childcare facilities, affordable education, and so on. Experts say that a range of societal issues are hurting the global population until governments work on creating a better social welfare structure. People will keep delaying marriage and having fewer children. The issue is spiraling, and if nothing changes, shuttered schools are just the beginning of bigger problems to come.
Absolutely crazy. Now we got to go over into not really an article, but just a quick search, because what I always say, Google is our friend. Google is our friend. So let's get over into this. As you can see, so I had a simple question. Didn't spell it right, but I had a simple question. How many countries are having more deaths than births? So while the exact global number fluctuates, dozens of countries currently experience more deaths than births, a phenomenon known as a population decline. This trend is more prevalent in many European nations, including Germany, Italy, Spain, Eastern European countries, as well as East Asian countries like Japan and South Korea, and is driven by low birth rates in Asian populations. So what they said. Now, like they mentioned very good points. Some people just saying they can't afford children, which is understandable. Now, is Americans, it does seem like that some American people don't care if they are financially able to have a kid. And they'll just have a kid. They don't care if they're financially ready for it or not. Is that a problem with Americans? Or with us? I don't know. But so let's get over to some of the countries. In Japan, in 2024, Japan recorded nearly 1 million more deaths than births, marking it as the steepest population decline since records began. 1 million more deaths than births. South Korea, the nation's first, experienced more deaths than births in 2020 and continues to grapple with this world-leading low birth rates. So, wow. So many European countries, including Germany, Italy, Spain, Greece, Portugal, Bulgaria, if I'm saying that wrong, y'all know, and Czech Republic, have seen deaths exceeding births, with some such as the European Union 27 experienced a total population fall in recent years due to negative natural increase. In China birth rates fell to 6.7 births per 1,000 people, while death rates were 7.87 per 1,000 people, leading to a negative natural increase. So why is it happening? Aging population. Many of these countries have an aging population, leading to a higher number of deaths. Lower birth rates, so fertility rates have fallen significantly, resulting in fewer births. Demographic shift, this leads to natural disease in populations where more people are dying than being born. Economic strain, what we talked about in aging population and declining birth rates, place pressure on pensions and healthcare systems. So labor shortages, a significant youth population can lead to labor shortage and impact via economic growth. And then government policies. Countries are implementing family-oriented policies such as cash incentives and free childcare to encourage birth rates. So they are trying to lead it to give out more money for births, what we listened to in that video, but it's not helping. One cash advance is not going to make people be like, oh yeah, let's go have some more babies. But it's crazy. It's crazy. But I mean, it's bound to happen. It's bound to happen. I don't know if it's as serious as Elon Musk was talking about with the death of Greece, but it's something that we have to think about, something that we have to talk about. Now, for America, like I said before, it seems like the opposite. Some people don't even care if they have a stable living condition and they have like 5 kids. I mean, and over in the other countries, they hold off having kids and have a population decrease because they are not financially ready for it. There's a lot of different reasons. Well, tell me your thoughts on that and tell me what you're thinking. Now let's pivot over into, so the last thing we're gonna get into today is gonna be a little short, maybe a little shorter today. Farmers. So we gotta go over into farmers. So it seems like some farmers are worried. Simple as that. Farmers are worried. So we're gonna get over to some video about some Arkansas farmers and see what they're worried about. Oh well, it's not the last. We've got one more video after this. So let's get over into this next video about the farmers. See what the Arkansas farmers are scared about. Oh, no, not that one. This one is it. So let's get over into this.
Oh, good evening to you. We begin tonight with hundreds of struggling Arkansas farmers pleading for emergency federal funding amid a farm economy crisis.
Channel 7's Andrew Mobley attended a meeting between farmers and federal officials earlier today in Brookland in northeast Arkansas and has more tonight. Andrew.
Almost everything that could go wrong for Arkansas farmers did go wrong this year. And it's so bad that many are facing bankruptcy or even the closure of farms that have been passed down for generations. A dismal global market and plunging commodity prices mean there's little to no hope of breaking even for many farmers, even as sky-high input costs rise because of inflation and now tariffs. Not to mention bad weather earlier in the year.
This time last year, the rice price was about 40% higher than it is now. The inputs costs have gone up. So after a horrible year last year, where most farmers in Arkansas Delta lost money, this year's going to be worse.
Though President Trump's big beautiful bill provided a much needed update to safety net subsidies for farmers, they won't see those federal dollars until late next year, by which time some have projected that as many as 1/4 or even 1/3 of Arkansas farmers will face bankruptcy or be forced to leave the business amid the crisis the American ag economy is currently in. It's already.
So the bill did help them. It's just not gonna be there in time, it sounds like. So
even 1/3 of Arkansas farmers will face bankruptcy or be forced to leave the business amid the crisis the American ag economy is currently in. It's already taken its toll this year.
I'm a sixth-generation farmer from Newport, and we made the decision to go out this year in the spring. So my son will not be the seventh generation on our farm.
5 of my customers have committed suicide. That's how serious that this is.
Today, Arkansas farmers gathered to share their struggles with staffers from the state's congressional delegation, pleading for Arkansas lawmakers on Capitol Hill and the governor to convince President Trump to provide emergency funding to help them make it to next year.
We have to have ad hoc payments right now to make it through this year.
If there's no emergency funding this year, there will be 1 out of 3 farmers will file bankruptcy.
Their cries for help did not appear to fall on deaf ears.
We're going to take your message, we're going to get it back to D.C., we're going to do everything we can to get you the help you need.
Until the federal government steps in to save them, farmers have no one to turn to but God.
Farmers, in my opinion, dear Lord, and it's only my opinion, are closer to thee than anyone else on this earth because we deal with your earth every day. Dear Lord, we're hurting, dear Lord. We can't help what's happened to us.
It's hard not to be moved by the cries of the people who put food on your table. On your side, I'm Andrew Mobley.
Drew, thanks so much. And in a joint statement, Senators John Bozeman and Tom Cotton, along with Congressman Rick Crawford, write that they are happy to continue to hear from farmers around northeast Arkansas and promise that relief is coming. They also say we are proud to have delivered multiple forms of key support and assistance that combined total over $80 billion since last December. These reforms and investments, once implemented, will help address economic challenges and natural disasters to preserve family farms.
Wow. Absolutely. I didn't see this is why we have to review the world, y'all. We got to look at everything because I didn't know this was happening. I knew farmers were struggling, but I didn't know it was like this. That one lady said that people have committed suicide because of this. When someone's livelihood is at stake. Yes, it's crazy. They can turn to terrible things. But hopefully the president, the government steps in and shows them some relief now, because it sounds like they need it. They have the bill to give them some relief, but it's not going to be there in time. I don't know why it's not going to be there in time, but I don't know the process of how long it takes to implement this stuff. Now tell me if you have some more insight on that, but yeah, it sounds like that the government needs to step in. Sounds like the government needs to step in to help. Let's get over into this next video. I'm just hearing some more about it.
We're going to lose 25 or 30% of the farmers in this country if they don't do something. It has to be done, and it's not just here. It's everywhere.
Yep.
Farmers are making...
We have to remember it's not just in Arkansas. Farmers are worried. Around the world, farmers are worried. So, yeah, let's keep going.
Farmers are making a cry for help before it's too late. Countless farmers gathered to speak to representatives of Arkansas leaders to share the urgency that something needs to be done about the current state of farming. Jake Tester was at the meeting and now joins us in the studio with more. Jake.
Many farmers spoke up at the meeting, and the message was straightforward. They need help, and they need it now.
Mr. Trump, you looked at me, sir, and you said, I love you. Mr. Trump, I need to see the fruit of your love.
Farmers in crisis align way out the door of the Woods Chapel Baptist Church in Brooklyn as hundreds of farmers from not only Northeast Arkansas, but from across the state came to voice their concerns about the current state of farming. Representatives from U.S. Congressman Rick Crawford, U.S. Senator Tom Cotton, and U.S. Senator John Boozman's offices were in attendance to hear those concerns. Among those farmers in attendance was a farmer in Woodruff County, Chris King. He told me this was his 39th harvest, and he has never seen it as bad as this.
And I've never been as worried as I am now about whether or not my kids and grandkids will be able to carry on.
For King, the main problem starts with the fact that they can't sell for profit.
I just would like to see somebody help us get our markets back. We need our exports, and we just need to be paid for what we do. And that's not happening. And we're in real trouble.
But that is not the only issue. King's wife, Melissa King, and farmer in Biggers, Arkansas, Scott Brown, said they are struggling to afford the cost that is needed just to take care of the farm.
The prices that we're getting now are prices like they were when we were children, and what it costs for us to farm is astronomical now. I mean, the price of a combine when we were kids was, in the 20,000s, and now it's 100,000.
I farm 800 acres by myself. I can't afford any help. I farm with paid-for equipment. All my tractors are 50 years old, and I can't hardly make this deal work. How's the guys farming 5 and 10,000 with 20 hands and $1 million combines and $1 million drills going to make it work?
But for Brown, there is something that rounds out all the issues that they are facing: the tariffs.
I think the tariffs are the ice cream on the cake of a perfect storm. When you try to sell a product, okay, U.S. soybeans leaving New Orleans without the tariff to China are cheaper than Brazilian soybeans at the current market. But when you put the tariff on top of them, Brazilian beans are cheaper.
So how can this be fixed?
In the short term, they have no choice but to mail us a check. I don't know a farmer that likes the check program. Nobody wants to take taxpayer dollars, but nobody wants to go broke. Nobody wants to lose everything. Long term, we have to have options, markets, and places to sell our product.
Now those representatives in attendance will be taking these concerns they heard to Washington, D.C. to share with the government leaders so they can try and find a way to solve this problem before it's too late. Reporting in the studio, Jake Tester, K8 News.
Jake, thank you. Northeast Arkansas representatives of Senator Bozeman, Tom Cotton, and Representative Crawford released the following statement saying in part, quote, "These reforms and investments, once implemented, will help address economic challenges and natural disasters to preserve family farms. Our delegation will continue to work closely with them, state leaders, and the Trump administration to help address their concerns and protect Arkansas's farming heritage and outlook," end quote.
Well, like what the farmers were saying, the tariffs were the icing on the cake. Tariffs were the icing on the cake. They're going to need some relief. They're going to need some relief. Sounds like that's as simple as it sounds. Sounds like they're going to need some relief. And farmers are the staple of any household. We got to be honest about it. Farmers are the staple of any household. So we have to take care of our farmers. Do I feel like Trump will help? I do. I do feel like Trump will help send something immediately. Hopefully. I would like to believe it. Now, if you don't think so, tell me. Tell me if you think that he doesn't care. But I think he obviously cares because he had it in the bill. The bill has stuff in there to provide help for farmers. It's just not implementing it. Why is it not implemented? I don't know. Tell me if you understand, if you know why it's not implemented, or tell me if you think it's all Trump's fault and he doesn't care about it. Absolutely crazy. But like I always say, we got to review the world together, y'all. We got to look into this stuff. There's things that we have to talk about, and we have to understand what's happening in the world. We have to understand what's happening in the world. Wild. Then hearing that some of the farmers took their lives because of this. Absolutely. She said customers. I'm assuming they're talking about farmers. Absolutely crazy, y'all. Absolutely crazy. Now, the last thing we're going to get into today, we're going to get into some crime stuff just to round off the day. And it looks like an armed robbery turned into a deadly crash. And it seems like the armed robber ended up wrapping the car around a pole. He wrapped the car around a pole, or I don't know, he or she, but let's get over into this last video for today and see what it's talking about.
But first, a violent crash in the city of Hayward, and police say the people inside the car are tied to an attempted robbery in Oakland. Tonight, the innocent driver and multiple suspects are in the hospital. Good evening. I'm Claudine Wall.
And I'm Mike Meback. Police say it began when multiple armed masked men approached a security guard right outside a business on International in East Oakland. Now, police say the security guard opened fire, prompting those suspects to take off, speeding away until they ultimately crashed right into another vehicle on Hesperian Boulevard in Hayward.
New at 10, KTVU's Amber Lee is live in Oakland with the latest on the investigation. Amber?
Claudine and Mike, Oakland police tell us they're looking for 2 additional suspects in the attempted robbery. Now, they've already located 3 suspects who crashed their getaway car in Hayward. We spoke with a man who witnessed the crash. Mangled metal, a 2-car crash on busy Hesperian Boulevard at Turner Court in Hayward that sent 4 people to the hospital around 4 o'clock on Wednesday afternoon. A witness tells us the silver Infiniti had 3 people inside who police say are suspects in an attempted robbery.
The car ricocheted and hit the post, the stoplight.
Mario Vasquez said,
"Play stupid games, win stupid prizes." Man, God. Absolutely.
The silver sedan crashed into a black Nissan driven by a woman.
She looked like she was pretty banged up from her face, and she couldn't walk either.
Oakland police say the silver sedan was carrying 1 adult and 2 juveniles, all male. They're suspects in an attempted robbery that took place about an hour earlier at International and Durant of a security guard outside of Food Max in East Oakland.
Multiple masked individuals with firearms came up and approached the security guard, who was also armed, and demanded the security guard put down their firearm. Fearing for their life, the security guard fired in the direction of the masked individuals.
Police spokesperson Paul Chambers says the 3 suspects fled in a vehicle and drove onto Interstate 880 South, and that police were able to track them by using their helicopter. Chambers says a motorcycle officer tried to pull over the suspect vehicle.
The car did not comply. The suspects continued on at a high rate of speed. Thankfully, our Argus helicopter was above and followed the vehicle into Hayward.
And police say that's where the suspect vehicle slammed into a black sedan, causing the suspect vehicle to crash into a pole.
2 of the gentlemen were taken out immediately. They put their hands up immediately, and the cops drew their guns at them.
The witness says a 3rd suspect on the passenger side was trapped, and first responders needed the jaws of life to extricate him. Vasquez says that suspect was able to speak and move after being rescued. He tells us this crash is a reminder for pedestrians and drivers to always be alert.
Just be aware of your surroundings, because even if you're not looking for danger, danger can come to you at any time, as you can see.
Police say the 3 suspects and the driver of the other car were all transported to the hospital. They say the injuries range from minor to critical. Police say the suspects will be taken into custody once they're released from the hospital. Claudine and Mike.
All right. Amber Lee reporting live. Thank you, Amber.
Hey, that's absolutely crazy. Hey, you go from robbing somebody at gunpoint, go to robbing somebody at gunpoint, to trying to getting into a high-speed chase, hitting a woman, and then wrapping your car around a pole. Now, all 4 are in serious injuries, and then as soon as they get out of the hospital, you know where they're going? Straight to jail. Straight to jail. They said it was 1 adult and 3 juveniles. If I'm saying that wrong, it might be 1 and 2, but juveniles, big boy crime need big boy time. I always say that. Hey, charge them as adults. Charge them as adults. Where are the parents? There's so many questions. When it comes to juveniles, where are the parents? They probably thought, yeah, they with their friend. Need to watch your kids. Golly. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. As simple as that. It's as simple as that. Now we'll keep up with this story. There was 3, okay. So, yeah. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. Y'all tell me your thoughts on this. How much time you think they should get? Because you know they armed rob somebody, high-speed chase, fleeing arrest. They're going to have a lot of charges. And hopefully that woman makes it out okay. Because she dies. They're going to jail for a long time. They need to be in jail for a good amount of time anyway. Wow, it can't be soft. Can't be soft. Juveniles are not. Can't be soft on crime. Because it doesn't stop anything. That's what I've understood and what I've, just from all the things that I review. Can't be soft on crime. Gotta do it. Absolutely crazy about everybody. Absolutely crazy. But that is the end of the show today. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in afterwards to watch it. But with anything, I always say, just let me know your thoughts. Let me know what your thoughts are. Do you disagree with anything I said? Do you think tell me your thoughts. Tell me if I'm completely wrong on something. I just want to hear it. I just want to hear what your thoughts are so we can have a good discussion about it. But y'all remember, this is AC Reviews the World. This was episode 38. And I am your host, AC the Engineer. And we just got to review the world together. But remember to hit that like button, that subscribe button. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter. Send things to my email if you want to send me any videos to review. So my email's in my description. It's simple as my name, acreviewstheworld, .after_the_A.after_the_C@gmail.com. So send me anything that you would like to, and so we can just have a good discussion about it. But thank you for tuning in, y'all. Just remember to hit that like button, that subscribe button, so your algorithm can be algorithm like mine. But thank y'all all. But have a good rest of y'all weekend. Y'all know I'll be back here tomorrow at 8 a.m. with some more stories for us to talk about and for us to review. But you already know what I got to do. I got to play the outro. So everybody have a good rest of y'all day. Peace.